Dapper Don Podcast. Dapper Don Podcast. This is your boy Dapper Don Dez.
Welcome to the Dapper Don Podcast. It is your boy Dapper Don Dez. And man, I'm back at it with another episode. You know how we do. Before we get started, if you like something, hit that like button. You know how I always tell you to do it. Man, we just gonna keep it rocking, keep it going. You know, I know the pace has been slow lately, but I'm back on it. I'm back focused. I'm back in my zone. And I'm back weekly. We're gonna do this every Monday. Every Monday, right here. Meet me right here. It's gonna be on Monday. And man, we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna talk about stuff that I think is pretty cool. Things that I think about is pretty interesting. It's a hip hop J show. It talks some hip hop. Is the center focus of it. But sometimes I live an interesting life, man. I live a life where a lot of things happen, and I can't wait to tell you about it. So man, the first thing I want to jump into it with, I don't even want to waste your time. The first thing I want to jump in and talk to you about is the new Mortal Kombat movie. Jeez Louise. They stunk up the place. I knew what would happen, and I said it. I said in all the trailers, they're only showing me the Sub-Zero and Scorpion fight. I'm like, and when Sub-Zero freezes the bullet when Jack shoot it. So here's a spoiler alert, you know. I don't really know if I can spoil too much for you, bro. They fought the bad guys. I mean, there wasn't really a lot. Here's my biggest problem. Here's was my biggest problem. One, it was rated R. It was rated R for no reason at all. Kano was funny. Kano was hilarious. He was a lot better. Whoever they had acting for him definitely has a future, because he was very funny, very charismatic. It was very lighthearted. You could tell, kind of like, you know how Iron Man was. It was, even in serious moments, it would come with somebody that would bring a lighthearted conversation. So that was good. The character development, I really like where they took it. So ideally, spoiler alert, so at least you heard. If you were born with this marking, that means you are the chosen one. Now, you can kill somebody and take their marking, but if you don't have the marking, you can't be a chosen one. So basically, you can't have a superpower if you don't have a marking. So it starts off, you see Scorpion's life and who he was. I don't know how true this is to the original, because I always thought like Scorpion was a bad guy, just like Sub-Zero. If anything, I kind of thought Sub-Zero was a good guy. Bust my bubble, huh? But because usually the ice guy is always the good guy, right? Like you think X-Men, the Iceman was always the good guy. Since when was the guy who spit hellfire out of his mouth the good guy? But that's what the case was. That's what it was, man. It started also, you see, you know, his whole backstory. Then it goes to this cage fighter. This cage fighter was a new character, somebody we didn't know, and this is the protagonist. So that's super dope that they actually decided to start from scratch. Because I said this about Marvel, and why I think Marvel has a head start over DC is because it's easier to sell me a superhero I'm not sold on, apparently. It's just easier to sell me a superhero I haven't heard their story yet. And that's exactly what they did. They took a risky jump by not making Liu Kang the main character, because that's our guy, right? Liu Kang is our guy. The dragon is a symbol. He controls the dragon. Like he's our guy. They just completely went for something different. So without giving it away, because I know a lot of y'all haven't seen it, you may not have HBO Max, you might not have, whatever. But I'm going to tell you this much. I think they tried to tell us the background, the backstory, instead of showing us. So, Sonya and Jax, they have a relationship already. They don't really show that. They just tell us about it. Cole's upbringing, they just tell us about it. I believe one of the reasons why this is because of COVID. Because when you look at the scenes, there's never more than 10 people in the shot. Even when they're fighting downtown in the middle of the city. In the middle of the city and fighting, you do not see more than 10 people. I do believe this has everything to do with COVID. The cage fight scene is about the only crowded thing you see. But for the most part, it's very spaced out. It's like, the actors were socially distancing, honestly. if I'm gonna be honest with you. And this just goes to show how COVID can ruin something, man. And they tried to make a blockbuster in the middle of the pandemic. I can't blame them. What they had to do is set the groundwork, right? If you're gonna start, because my girlfriend said she read up and found out that there was a backstory. That they're gonna do 3 more, and I think Johnny Cage get a standalone. So it looks like everybody's in the superhero business. And luckily for you, Mortal Kombat is one of the best superheroes. Well, not superheroes, but fighters, anyway. One of the best fighters, period. Because it was kind of like born in my generation, so we kind of remember it. I think what they tried to do was tell us what happened. I think they got to show us what happened. Maybe it needs to be after pandemic, but I want to see when Jax gets his mark. I want to see Liu Kang's upbringing, even if it's just a little, when he's telling a story, it just flashback to him maybe, because he was born like in some foster care orphanage or something, him running through the slums in China or whatever, and him being adopted by Raiden, whatever the story happens, however that plays out, just some little flashbacks. I think little small flashbacks would have been dope, but I don't know if they didn't have the budget, or they didn't have the time, or they didn't have the ability to be able to get a bunch of people together in one place like that. But I would have loved to seen the exploration. I would have loved to seen the backstory play out. And this is what I was telling my girlfriend. When you do origin stories, man, you gotta bite the bullet on the first one. You look at Captain America, bit the bullet. You gotta bite the bullet on the origin story. It's gonna be slower. You're gonna, let everybody know what's going on. Because certain things transpired that I'm not gonna tell you about because it's still new. But certain things transpired and I didn't care that it happened. Like when the death of a main character happens or a prominent supporting character, you should care. I just didn't feel attached to any of these characters. The only thing it was like, oh, I remember that character. It was cool. It was cool. But, everybody's a critic. Whatever. It was decent. The fighting was decent. The fighting was certainly decent. It was definitely a good choreographed fight. I was watching something on YouTube, man. They was talking about why stunt coordinators don't get an Oscar. I didn't know that. I thought, which they make a good point. How don't they get an Oscar? Like, if you're the stunt double, you're half of the character. Half of what we watch is you getting slanged through a piece of glass, you getting drop kicked. Like, how don't the stunt double get the Grammy? Not the Grammy, the Oscar. Because it's funny, because you can write a song, and the song plays in the background while the actor is acting, and you can win an Oscar. So how is the people doing the score for the music gets the Oscar, but the stunt double doesn't? So they want the stunt coordinator to win. That's kind of like the stunt double's director. They kind of design all the action, all the high-pack stuff you see. Now, I don't know like if Michael Bay does it himself, because they always say Michael Bay loves a good explosion. So I don't know if that includes in stunt coordination, but they say they want the category to be called best action design, because that's what they feel like they're doing. They're designing the actual action. And I mean, who am I to tell you otherwise? They showed you behind the scenes. They showed you how like they put the wire on them. Like, let's say somebody gets tossed across the whatever the room by a monster. They showed you how that happened, man. It's some risky stuff too, because you getting slammed. I thought like there'll be like something to catch you, or like you get tossed through the glass. It's fake glass. No, that's real glass they get tossed through. And what they do, here's what the video showed me. I'm gonna share the knowledge with you. What happens is the glass doesn't break by you just getting tossed against it, because this is pretty strong glass. So what they do is they toss the actor or the stunt double through at the glass, and at the very moment they hit the glass, they set off an explosion that shatters the glass. So technically, you're not just getting thrown through glass, you're getting thrown through an explosion and broken glass. But the glass, the way it breaks is into like little harmless, I don't know, little balls, whatever. So I guess that's the bright side to it. And I guess it's completely like physically harmless. But it's glass though, so it's still strong. It's still real glass. You're still getting tossed through some stuff. You can still get hurt. That's why they demand there be a stunt double on set. So it's super crazy. They definitely deserve an Oscar. That reminds me, you remember the movie that had the Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Brad Pitt was the stunt double. I just brought that up. Nothing serious. Just made me think about it. Maybe Quentin Tarantino is on board with them getting an Oscar. But anyway, speaking of fighting, speaking of stunning and fighting, let's talk about Floyd Mayweather and Jake Paul. So, if you don't know who that is, I'm going to briefly explain it to you, but we're not insult your intelligence by spending too much time on this. Floyd Mayweather is the best boxer at or under 160 pounds. I believe he's under 60 pounds. He's the of his weight class, he is the best boxer ever. He is 50-0. He has never been beaten in the ring. He has never professionally been beaten. He said he's had over 90 amateur bouts. I believe that's how much he said he has. But he said that he's made all the sacrifices. He's been boxing since a baby, man, since a shorty. He talked about his mom being on drugs, him being born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, moving to Jersey, living in Las Vegas, like really having a rough upbringing. And to transcend to become one of the biggest boxers ever. Now, Money Mayweather spend that money, you feel me? Money Mayweather get the money, he spend the money. You can see him with Bugattis. He got 80, 90 girlfriends. He flies private everywhere he goes. He lives an extravagant lifestyle. The problem is he's boxing a YouTuber by the name of Jake Paul. YouTube, like what you probably watching me on, YouTuber. And I guess he's a pretty good troll. I know he had a TV show before. Maybe his brother. It's two of them. There's a Logan and a Jake. I thought they was the same person. Apparently they're not. I never seen them in the same room together, but I don't really be on their clock like that. They ain't really nobody that I watch on my day-to-day. But he's pretty much boxing. This guy's an expedition fight. If you don't know, Floyd is kind of up there. He's in his mid-40s. And he's a grandfather at this point. And he's doing this for the money. He's saying that he's getting 9 figures for an expedition fight. Mind you, if you was a super popular rapper, I'm talking about you were the man, you might get 20 million. But look at what Floyd get. That's why we say he one of the best. That's why we call him Money Mayweather. So usually when you go face to face, you do a little trash talk and you sell the fight. You big up the fight. One of the biggest and best trash talkers there ever was Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor has better trash talking than fighting these days. And that sells the fight. That really gets people engaged. That really gets people to want to watch. But when it came to this Jake Paul thing, man, they was talking trash. They was face to face. They was talking trash. And Jake Paul just snatches Floyd Mayweather's hat off his head. And him and Floyd act like they're about to brawl. And I'm just looking like, that's the selling point? Because you remember when Tyson was about to fight Holyfield, or like Lennox Lewis was about to fight this swole cat. I forget what it was. And they do the weigh-in. And you really want to feel like these guys about to rip each other's head off. It's some theater in this. It's theater when it comes to selling a boxing match and just boxing in general. So he takes the hat. I'm like, this is the most childish thing ever. This kid just looking for headlines. He ain't even looking to be a competitive match. I'm not finna waste not a penny on this fight. They don't even got a date yet. Floyd hasn't made a date yet. It hasn't made what he felt like was worthwhile. Because he said on $1 million worth of game, you got to pay him up front. He's not finna just, go off the whim and go off a pay-per-view. You got to pay him that 9 figures up front. Plus, he gets back in. This man is crazy. This man is not finna box this dude, bro. It has no traction, has no interest. I don't know if you remember, Floyd just, for I don't know how many millions, Floyd just beat up this little small Asian guy, little kickboxer guy. I'm not going to say he's like horrible or terrible or anything, but Floyd could have easily watched this guy. Now, I respect Floyd for doing expedition matches because if you look at Muhammad Ali, he kept boxing later on in his life and the brother couldn't talk no more. He couldn't talk. He couldn't walk. He had the shakes. Like, it was tough for Muhammad, man. It was tough for Cassius Clay. Yeah, life come at you quick. You got to know when to hold him and when to fold him. He should have folded him. And Floyd, this is him folding it, man. I don't think this guy's going to get more than a handful of punches in on him. He won't get no hit Floyd don't want him to have. Now, if you're also wondering what's so special about this guy, so I don't believe it was Logan Paul, his brother. But his brother boxed a former NBA player named Nate Robinson. He cleaned his clock in the second round. I'm talking about dogs just walked face first into a whole knuckle sandwich. It was crazy. And, you know, and since that knockout, them brothers kind of got a lot of juice. So Logan, who knocked out Nate Robinson, wants to fight Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's already kind of trash right now. He's another one that's got to learn just to stop, bro. It's over. Let it go. It's done. I remember when they fought. Everybody's like, oh, Conor McGregor, he's going to get hit by a real fighter. Bro, you're not finna beat a boxer in a boxing ring. That's like LeBron James beating a football player out at football. Yeah, you're the best at one thing, but that doesn't mean you're going to be the best at another thing. It's crazy. It's your world, though, brother. It's your world, man. Good luck, Jake Paul. I don't know I don't know what the selling point of this fight is. I don't know what it is. But let's take it to another. Let's switch gears and let's talk about the boy Gunna. Now, Gunna, I wasn't really on dog like that. I'm not really on this new era like that. If I gotta just be all the way genuine, all the way honest with you, I don't really connect with what they talk about within their music. But, it's important to somebody. It's popular to somebody. And if you reaching somebody, you'll never get a complaint out of me because, music is meant to help. Apparently, he went platinum. I didn't know he go platinum. Him and Lil Baby be going platinum. Because it kind of looked like to me Lil Baby was the hot one. He was the big cheese. But a year later, Gunna's Wanna, that's the name of the album, Wanna, spelled like Gunna but with a W, album just went platinum. It had songs like Skybox in it, and apparently this is his sophomore album, so I'm assuming he's saying his first project went platinum as well. So this is a year later. He signed with YSL Records, but I believe he got some kind of management with QC going on. And this just really showed me that, we're coming into a new era of music. And it's tough to judge the first 2-3 years of how a decade is shape out. Because if you would have judged the first 2-3 years of how, the last decade would shape out, you would have thought, Ace Hood and Waka Flocka would have been the hottest acts of this decade. You wouldn't have seen Cole coming. You wouldn't have seen Drake. You wouldn't have seen Kendrick. You wouldn't have seen... We clearly seen it, right? That was our age group. That was our age group. They was, they was hitting the college campuses. They was... the Dat Pips, they was where we was at. So we knew they was bubbling. We knew Currency was hot. We knew Mac Miller was hot. We knew Wiz Khalifa was hot. We seen these things. But as far as the mainstream goes, if you just watched the mainstream, you wouldn't have seen the roster that did become, I guess, the new era legends. But how sustainable do you think this Gunna thing is? Lil Baby seems to have sold us on a story. I don't quite feel like I know who Gunna is. Maybe you know him. Maybe this is just me being 32 years old. That's a thing now. I'm willing to admit that there's just a thing of being out of touch. But who is this guy? What does he stand for? Like, what is... I know he's from Atlanta, and I know he likes to get fly. He likes to get fresh. How long can that sell? How long can that work? As far as you go, I think Roddy Ricch is in the same, predicament. It's easy when you're selling the story of a gangster, right? Because when you're selling the story of a gangster, you can just kind of recycle the same branding. You can just follow a generic blueprint, and hopefully people feel you. But when you look at DMX, right? We just buried DMX a week ago. His music is now starting to come back in the streaming. It's coming back. I've been still listening to it, but it's starting to get more ads on playlists. Because it's a story. If you never knew who DMX was and you digged into his discography, you fell in love with a catalog. There's some young, 13, 14-year-old who heard his favorite artist say, "Rest in peace, DMX." He's like, "What's a DMX?" And looked it up. And he just found a whole catalog of music that's gonna change his life. I don't know if this Gunna guy has that. I'm not hating on him, man. It's just something that I saw and I was like, oh, they got platinum artists that I heard him on a Chris Brown song, but like I said, I don't quite know his story. When you look at Lil Baby, you kind of know Lil Baby's story. You feel like and he also has an emotional connection with you. And you know, I'm gonna get into what they got going on too later on. But right now, I want to say it before I forget. Really quick. Let's talk about Will Smith, man. So Will Smith has got the dad bod industry in a frenzy. He posts a picture saying he's in the worst shape of his life. Now, he is mildly fat. I'm talking barely fat. Like, the guy has love handles now. I can't say he doesn't. But at 50, this is his worst shape right here. And so it started a whole movement of a bunch of dad bods coming out, you know, taking pictures in their underwear saying, man, I'm going to get in there with you, Will. We're both going to work it out together. I want you to know, by the time Will posted that, he was already probably 10 pounds down. I don't know how long it's going to take him to lose that weight, but I've end of the month. Because these actors, man, they have such a crazy regimen. And I'll be watching YouTube, man. I'll be watching some YouTube. If I'm going to be honest with you, I watch some YouTube. I seen a YouTube video. I forget the guy's name. He's from India. You know, he's from India, but he's finna be one of the superheroes for the Eternals. I'm about to butcher his name. Kumar? No, Kumar is from Harold and Kumar. Okay, that came off as racist. I don't know his name. But he's apparently just jumped in an amazingly good shape. And everybody killed him, said, oh man, you're juicing, you're on steroids. And I looked at him, I said, well, he's in good shape, but he's big, but he doesn't look like he's that big. He doesn't look like he's that strong. So I seen the video says the dark secrets behind Hollywood's unreasonable male body standards. I couldn't have clicked it no faster. The guy broke down how steroids work. I always thought you just took some horse tranquilizing steroid and that was it. You got yoked. That was the only form of steroids. So he broke it down like this. And I'm not saying Will Smith takes steroids, but I just seen this and I thought it was interesting. I want to drop the knowledge on you because you may not run across the video. They may not recommend it to you, but they recommended it to me. And now I have the obligation to tell you what happened. So the guy broke it down like this. He says that when it comes to building muscle, you have three parts. It's a triangle effect when it comes to weight loss. You have the exercise you get, the food you get, the food you eat. So that's your refueling, and the rest that you have. You build muscle when you're resting. You tear the muscle when you're working out. You build it when you're resting. And the food that you eat, of course, you are what you eat. So those are the three dynamics of I guess bodybuilding or just getting in shape in general. There's apparently a steroid for each section of that. So there's growth hormones. That's when you see the dude that walks by, can't really put his arms to his side. They just kind of like hanging. You ever see those guys? They just kind of hanging. They gotta walk sideways through the door. You got those kind of guys, right? So that's growth steroids. Now that doesn't mean that just because you take these growth hormones, you're gonna be as big as Arnold Schwarzenegger. You still gotta do the work. That's the main point he was saying. You still gotta do the work. It just allows you to go past what your body would have allowed you to grow, what you would have allowed you to grow to. Then you have another pill that was invented to help people with breathing problems, with lung problems, but it also seems to burn a lot of fat. This would be more or less like a supplement for what you eat, right? Like that would go hand in hand with a good diet because it helps you to shred fat so you can ultimately pile on muscle and be burning fat. And this pill helps you to do that. I'm not saying that's what Will Smith is gonna do, but I mean, I don't know. I've seen Will Smith look kind of yoked a little bit. It's according to this video, it's a pretty common practice for them to do this in Hollywood. So I wouldn't get too discouraged if you're gonna be running behind Will Smith. Don't get too discouraged when he just takes off on you, because this could be a thing he's doing. You know, you gotta go with you. I heard a fitness channel say when you compete against others, you get bitter. When you compete against yourself, you get better. So that's just little words to the wise for y'all out there running behind Will Smith. And the third other component of this steroid stack, that's what they call them, stacks, is recovery. How quickly your body recovers. I was surprised. I was like, nah, they got a Wolverine pill? They got a Wolverine pill out here. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna take a steroid, but if I was gonna take anything illegal, I mean, a Wolverine pill? I don't think it works. I don't think it's like you get shot, you just take this pill and boom. It's not a sensu bean. But you know, apparently it helps you recover quicker, so you can just like murder yourself in the gym for 7 hours straight. Who would want to do that? Somebody did. Somebody want to do it. So with that, you know, good luck to all you dad bods out there. I'm also hitting the gym. I'm also eating right too, man. You know, my body weight goal is a dad bod. We up here joking, like, but you know, I'm working on it too. We all working on it. We all work to get better, man. Compete with yourself. Don't go running behind Will Smith because Will Smith doing it. You think you gonna do it? Cause you don't know what Will Smith really up to. You ain't got no way of knowing. So another segment that I kind of wanted to bring, or at least talk about, was DJ Khaled's new album. I feel like I don't really talk about albums enough, and I kind of go hard on DJ Khaled, and it's for good reasons. I had thought about something while I was walking through the parking lot, and I knew I would share it with you. I said, that's really clever. I should share this with you. DJ Khaled is a really good down south DJ. If it's a down south record, Khaled's the best. Khaled's the man for it. But if we're talking about like if we're talking like an East Coast record, like this new Jay-Z and Nas record he got, bro, leave it alone. He had another one with like Jadakiss Fabulous and Mary J. Blige. That one didn't hit for nothing either. It's funny how generic his East Coast records sound, while he'll turn around and make a record like I'm So Hood featuring T-Pain. Like, Pain used to get him records. Welcome to My Hood. That was another one. Like, Pain used to get him records. He got some pretty dope Drake records, but it's Drake. Come on, it's a cheat code. So I'm going to rattle off the track list for you, and I'm going to tell you what records I heard that I thought was fire and what records I didn't hear and I might actually give a try, because this is my first time looking at the entire track listing. So it's 13 tracks. We started on track 1, Lil Wayne and Jeremiah. He always keep a Lil Wayne on here. Now, it's been a while since I seen a Ross on every record, Khaled. It's been a minute. That used to be like the Rakim to your Eric B. You done kind of fell back from that, but he always incorporate Wayne in him, bro. He always, even though Wayne's not even as hot as he used to be, or probably hot at all, but you know, he starts off with Lil Wayne and Jeremiah. I haven't heard that record. Shame on me. I bet it's fire. This next one, Every Chance I Get, featuring Lil Baby and Lil Durk, fire. That's hot fire right there. I've heard that record. That's been on replay. That one and Wants and Needs by Drake and Lil Baby is a guaranteed spin. Number 3, We Going Crazy, her and Amigos. That was straight. That was straight. I seen the video. Her was looking amazing in the video. I Did It, featuring Post Malone, Meg Thee Stallion, Lil Baby, and The Baby. He got a lot of Lil Baby verses. I know he ain't paying for all these. That's an expensive song right there. Post Malone, Meg Thee Stallion, Lil Baby, and The Baby. That's $1 million song right there. And I guarantee you I don't like it, but I'm going to give it a shot. Here's a weird one to put together. He trying to go for it on this one. Let It Go, featuring Justin Bieber and 21 Savage. Who puts Justin Bieber and 21 Savage on the same song? I got to check out what that one's about. Body in Motion, featuring Bryson Tiller, Lil Baby, and Roddy Ricch. Lil Baby and Roddy Ricch dominated 2020 and 2019. They had him on the same record as Fire and Bryson Tiller. I mean, I think he's really trying to find a sound. I thought he sounded like Drake on Don't. A lot of people feel like I'm wilding, but, you know, what's my opinion? I think he made the best Drake record of 2019. I think he was like the designer was the future. But, you know, people don't feel that way. People just feel... I felt like he had a So Far Gone kind of flow on that last Trap Soul. I think that's what it was. But there you go. You got Lil Baby, Roddy Ricch, Bryson Tiller on Body in Motion. I'm sure that's fire. Pop Star featuring Drake. Oh, I thought that album already dropped. Pop Star, that was a fire one. I was feeling Pop Star. This Is My Year featuring A Boogie with the Hoodie, Big Sean, Rick Ross, and Puff Daddy. Those sound like two songs. A Boogie and Big Sean on the song. Then Rick, at least he got Ross on something. Because I was just getting on him by not having Ross. I looked over it. I bet it's like a little 12 verse, whatever. But hey, man, he still got him on there. And it's dope that they still got that kind of relationship where they can work together. Number 9 is Sorry Not Sorry. Listen, this Nas and Jay-Z record, bro, it is so mediocre. It is so mediocre. He even got a video. I'm mad at Jay-Z about this one. You didn't show up. You didn't shoot a video for What's Free. One of your best verses of the last decade. You didn't show up for F With Me, You Know I Got It. You didn't do one for Devil Is a Lie, but you did one for this song? For this song? How? This guy Khaled, bro, Charlamagne made a good point. He just doesn't make good Jay-Z collaborations. And I'm going to take it past Jay-Z. He's just not a good East Coast. He doesn't have a good ear for East Coast records, which is funny because I believe he picked Lean Back for Fat Joe. He might have. I know he screened out Cool and Dre. So Cool and Dre probably produced it. But I don't know. Maybe he needs to incorporate, Fat Joe on it a little bit more or something because his East Coast records just don't slap. So Sorry Not Sorry featuring Nas, Jay-Z, James, you know his name, and the Harmonies by the Hive. Number 10, Just Be featuring Justin Timberlake. Gotta check that one out. He just got Timbo. He just got Timberlake on there. That probably slap. I Can Have It All featuring Bryson Tiller, Her, and Meek Mills. It's more of a Her and Meek Mills record. It's fire. It's fire. It's good. You can tell Mink gassing up for Mink season. And I'm all the way here for it. You got Grease featuring Drake. You know that record. It's straight. It's fire. I find myself like, if it's on a good playlist, if it's on a nice playlist, a little chill playlist, I'll let it rock. I'll let it rock. It ain't my favorite Drake nothing, but I'll let it rock. It's cool. And then he always keeps a good Jamaican record, man. He has Buju Banton, Bounty Killer, Barrington Levy, and Capleton. So it's called Where I'm From. It's a real reggae record. I know, of course, Buju Banton and Bounty Hunter. The fact he ain't got Elephant Man on there is kind of strange. But that's kind of the thing with Khaled, man. Khaled can put together a star-studded project. It's just that does the records hit the same, man? He knows how to make a record. At no point will I tell you can't make a record. He can't find a hit. And he knows how to make you want to hear it. Or at least put it in your face where you can't help but hear it. But at the same time, man, I know a lot of those songs are going to be easily forgettable. He has the most star-studded throwaways I have ever heard. I think his catalog's filled. That's why I said I think DJ Clue's a better East Coast DJ. Because Clue tapes had very little skips on them. Clue tapes was solid projects, man. Super solid projects. And Khaled has very solid relationships. That's a good example. Khaled has solid relationships. Clue has solid songs. Even though Flex looked like he's trying to gas up on our Khaled. He looked like he's trying to gas up on Khaled. He had a record with Jadakiss I thought was fire and a record with King Von. But Yeah, that was it. I wanted to talk about the SWV and our escape challenge, but my girlfriend isn't here, and I didn't grow up on that for real. That really wasn't like my thing. I wasn't listening to SWV. I wasn't listening to Escape. I like to invoke Let Go. That has nothing to do with nothing though. So, you know what? I'll just leave it.